And I guess I've just had to learn from my mistakes. I've been very blessed to have a mother that taught me basically, own up to what you did wrong and move on. And that's been a great example out of me, because as I say, when you make these mistakes, you can't lie about them. You can't pawn them off on anybody else. As I tell my kids, you take the punishment or you take the consequence that goes around with your mistake. And so I've tried to live by that. You better make sure that's something you want to do. And it's something, and there's not a doubt in your mind. And then you got to be not only dedicated to do it, but you got to go do it. That's the problem. That's the hard part. Anybody come up with an idea and get a business card and go out there and start working on something. But if you're not doing it every waking minute, you're not going to be successful, because somebody else out there's already got the idea probably.
All right, good morning, Savannah. It's Taraz, the host of the Savannah Business Showcase, and I'm here this morning with our featured guest, Tom Cardiff, Vice President of Fund Development with Goodwill, Southeast Georgia, and I'm excited to have you here, so thanks for being here.
Definitely glad I could be here and come to get a chance to talk about what Goodwill does, and appreciate you giving me that opportunity.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. The way I usually like to start, I like to start my interviews with a scenario, so here you go. So you're walking through your neighborhood, a little kid comes up to you and says, "Tom, you're my hero. All right, I want to be like you when I grow up." So in the language that a 10 or 12-year-old can understand, what does it take to be Tom Cardiff?
Wow. First thing, that would be a miracle if they did that. Second thing, I'd ask them, are you sure you're talking to the right guy? I think for me to be like Tom, I guess the most important thing I would tell a young man would be to be honest, be who he is. I think in this day and age, we've got so many people that try to be somebody else, and they need to, be honest, keep those core values that hopefully your parents have taught you, and make sure when you go to bed at night, you don't have to worry about remembering the lie you told 5 minutes before you went to bed.
True.
So I think for me, that's probably been the biggest thing. Is just try to be who I am, and try to make sure that I'm honest with everybody I come in contact with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think we could pass that on to a lot of individuals out there, and make for a much better place to live.
That's true. Very true. Okay, so Tom, you're here. How did you get involved with Goodwill?
Well, good question. I have been working for the Boy Scouts of America for probably about 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's what got me here. And then I had the opportunity to leave and go work for Goodwill. Michael Winkler, who's the CEO here locally at the Goodwill of Southeast Georgia, he brought me on to be his I like to say fun, but it's fund development, which Goodwill has not done a lot of in the past, because they're a self-funded organization, which is a good thing. And they brought me on to do some of those types of work to help reach into the community, get more people involved, let people know what Goodwill does, why we do it, and what our mission is. And so that's kind of how I got here. And it's been very interesting in the fact that, Goodwill has not had a person in my position employed here before. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a new territory, trying to figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
And working with what Michael's vision is and what he's trying to, where he's trying to place Goodwill.
Awesome. Okay. So are the Boy Scouts technically a nonprofit?
They are.
Okay.
So I've been in a nonprofit organization for about, I guess, almost 30 years now.
Gotcha.
So, and that was fun to be able to leave the Boy Scouts and then have a chance to come into another nonprofit organization that does a lot of good here in our community.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you from here? Are you from Savannah?
Actually, I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina. I grew up in a place called Johns Island. And if you've ever been to Kiowa Island, you drive through Johns Island to get there. That's the only claim to fame I've got. But I grew up there. I went to high school there and then graduated. And believe it or not, I graduated. But I went to college at Morehead State University in Kentucky.
Okay.
Played football there and met my wife.
Oh, nice.
And we stayed there for 22, 23 years. All my boys were born there, and then we came down here 10 years ago.
Yeah, good place to relocate to.
It is. Savannah's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Get rid of the sand gnats, it'd even be better.
I know, that's terrible, man. I agree.
They are terrible. Yeah. That's a fact.
What'd you play in football?
I played most of the bench, but I long snapped, which is what got me on the team, and then I played center and guard for a couple of years until I realized I wasn't going on to the NFL.
Yeah.
And got married and decided to quit my college career about my junior year. I'd had about all I could stand. But
makes sense.
It was a lot of fun, though. Enjoyed playing.
Yeah, I played all the way through high school. I was terrible, too. My team was terrible. I played guard, so it's short as I am.
I played guard in college, exactly what I played.
Yeah. But I agree. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
I had a lot of lifelong friendships.
And I'm still healthy, so that's always a positive.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so So let's talk about Boy Scouts
All
then,
right.
since we're here. Like, I was a Boy Scout for about 2 months.
Wow, that long,
that
huh?
long, yeah.
Here in Savannah?
No. I'm from North Carolina originally.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
my mom took me to a couple little get-togethers that it just never came to fruition.
2 months. Well,
Yeah.
that makes you at least an alumni, though.
There you go. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so what? I promise we'll get back to Goodwill. But like, why? So like, why should I have a son? Should I let him join the Boy Scouts?
Yes, I mean there's been a lot of controversy swirling around the Boy Scouts in the last couple of years, but it is still one of the best youth organizations that I've ever been a part of when it comes to teaching young people how to be leaders, giving them a well-rounded aspect of life and not just athletics or just athletics, not just athletics, but also academics as well. Because people kind of focused on one or the other. Scouting organization does a great job of getting these young people an opportunity to learn how to be self-reliant, and again, I go back to the leadership part. I think we miss that here in our society when pretty much our kids are told what to do, and if they're not, they do what they want when they want. So it's kind of the either or there. And the scouting organization does a good job of taking them and saying, okay, you want to do this, then you do the work it is to prepare and plan for that activity, and then let's go do it. And it gives those kids an opportunity to also to achieve things. There's very few organizations out there that'll take a young man when he's an age of 11 through 18, and if he becomes an Eagle Scout or he becomes some of those awards, it shows that young man has started something and finished something. And so yes, I would. Even though, like I said, for me over the last several years, the scouting has, I think, changed some of its direction it's going.
Okay.
I don't necessarily like it. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And but I still think it's got a lot of value and a lot of opportunity for a young man to develop, get outdoors. If you're in Savannah, there's a lot of people probably haven't done much outdoors, even though we're in Southeast Georgia. But to get a chance to go up and do a 50-mile hike or to whitewater raft or do some of those kind of activities you wouldn't normally get to do here, I still think it's an awesome experience for most young men.
Awesome. Okay, great. I'll definitely keep it in mind. We do love being outdoors. We camp all the time, and I went kayaking this past weekend. So
Fantastic. Where'd you go kayaking at?
We have a little Sterling Creek.
I know. Yeah, that's right. It's in Richmond Hill.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's where I'm
right
from,
there by the golf course. So I was probably golfing while you were doing that. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, is it true that they're going to bring let girls join the Boy Scouts?
That's
now?
what I read.
Okay.
It looks that they're going to allow in 2019 girls to come into Cub Scouting and into Boy Scouting, and eventually girls will be able to earn the Eagle Scout rank. And for me, I would, if somebody would ask my personal opinion, I don't think it's a great idea, but it is what it is, and there's not anything I can do about it. So I'm hoping that they'll do the best they can to preserve what scouting has always been over the past 100 years. My biggest concern, and I'll tell anybody this to their face, I'm not who would want to know in the first place. My biggest concern would be when they turn 11, and now you've got boys and girls out camping together. And as a scout leader, I don't necessarily know if I want to put them in that situation or me in that situation.
Right.
And that's, again, my personal opinion, because like I said, there's a lot of other people who tell you that nothing will happen and they're going to do what they want to do, whether they're camping or not, which they're probably right.
True, yeah.
But I don't want to be the leader that's involved with that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and there's value to having the same sex at that age just be together and grow, because you start to act different once you're around, said girls, and, you know what I mean?
I agree, and that is probably the other reason I would agree 100% with you that I do not like the direction they've gone, and maybe in the long run they'll prove me wrong, and we'll go. But I'm with you. I still think there's plenty of opportunity. Well, there's so much opportunity for them to do co-ed things now. Everything we do, there ought to be an opportunity where boys can be boys and girls can be girls, and go out and have a good time together. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so Goodwill.
Yes, so we're there.
So fun so fun development. What does that mean?
Well, that's a good question. For me, when they asked me to come be a part of what Goodwill was doing here in the Coastal Empire area, they asked me to do three things. They asked me to help them raise some funds for some different projects that they're doing, which is just traditional fundraising, put on some events, and we can talk about that for in a second. Number two was to be community engagement, which is get out in the community, get to meet people, kind of what you do.
How we met.
That's exactly how we met, and let people know what Goodwill's doing. And three is to help them try to find some larger donations. As you well know, Goodwill lives on donations that people drop off at stores or donation boxes, and then those items are put into stores or salvaged or whatever it may be, and that's how Goodwill self-funds itself.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my responsibilities also is to find businesses that may be willing to donate their office furniture when they're remodeling. I mean, you name it. Schools that are going out or remodeling, or those kind of things. Any of those kind of large donations, they want me to try to find out too. So that's kind of the three-pronged approach for me when it came to fund development.
Got you.
So
got you. Awesome. Okay, so I'm amazed. Like you just kind of this is a new position, but you got it. So how? Like, talk to me about networking, because you said you knew the CEO a little bit, right?
Yeah. Well, the interesting part of the networking is that when I was working with the Boy Scouts, my Michael Winkler, who's the CEO, I got to know him because his son was an Eagle Scout.
Okay.
And we started talking one day about Eagle Scouts, and because I have sons that are Eagle Scouts, and then we met, and he was loved scouting, I love scouting, and then when I had the opportunity to come over there, I mean, he was looking for somebody that was in the community, and I'd been living in the community for 10 years, knew some people, I don't know everybody, but knew a lot of people, and he wanted somebody that has some connection in the community, especially when it comes to outreach, as you well know.
Yeah.
You got to get out and know people,
yeah,
and hopefully they can help you accomplish your mission. And so that's where our kind of relationship started. And then he came to me and said, would you be willing to come over and work with Goodwill? And absolutely, that'd be a great thing for me to do. And it was kind of different. I mean, it's what's nice about working for Goodwill, as I go back to the self-funding thing, Goodwill has been blessed over the years. It's a social enterprise, and what it does, it's got 4 businesses, and they're businesses that rate the money that it makes, it takes and puts it back into its mission.
Okay.
And so, like a Boy Scouts of America, every dime it makes, it puts it back to its mission too, but it also goes to funding its employees, it goes to funding its camps, all these different things out there. And if you don't raise those funds, you have to get rid of program. And that's, like with Goodwill, what's nice is that they don't raise those funds. Yes, they have to get rid of some program, but they don't have to necessarily get rid of the employees and everybody else, because their 4 social enterprises are raising the funds to keep the organization afloat.
Gotcha.
That's exactly right.
Awesome.
And so that was a completely different thing for me, and that's why with the fund development side, I've been given an opportunity to start kind of at ground zero and work up, and know that if I don't do the greatest job that I need to do right now, I have some time to work into it, because I'm kind of a not an extra, but almost, I don't want to say luxury, that's bad, that may get me in trouble. But it's something that they don't necessarily have to have, but it's something that will bear them fruit in the future.
Yeah.
And then they can allow me to do that now as I work into this job and help them find more grants or do some more fundraisers, those types of things, to be able to take that money and put it to their mission.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is.
That's great.
It's been really good. It's been really fun to be able to work in an organization like this.
Yeah. So you said Goodwill has 4 businesses on
it. Does.
What? You have the stores, the Goodwill stores.
Yeah,
right?
that's one of them. That's called retail.
Retail.
So we have 17 stores
Okay.
that are in our 33 county area. Now, our Goodwill
Okay.
is specifically locally owned. I say locally owned because it's run by a board, all local board members, and they're autonomous. So they make decisions here locally for this area. They don't answer to a national organization, which is great because they make the decisions that are going to affect our community. So there's 33 counties. We have 4 counties in South Carolina and 29 in Georgia.
Okay.
And in those counties we have 17 stores.
Okay.
We have 1 outlet store, and I'll tell you what that is. But you've been in one of the Goodwill stores. You go in there, you find great stuff, and you get a good bargain, and you go and you use it. We have an outlet store that's at our Sally Mood location that's buy by the pound, and basically you go into the store, you find what you want, you put it in the bucket, they weigh it, and you pay $1.15 a pound or whatever the number is.
Really?
$1.50.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna have to go by there.
You need to. It's a brand new. It's brand new to us. It's been done by other Goodwills in other areas, and it's slowly and it's taken off as a great opportunity and you get a lot of people that'll come in there that do flea markets that'll come in and buy stuff. Yeah. And they turn right around and go sell it again, or you get families that need clothing for a lot of kids. They come in and they can get it very inexpensively. So we have 17 of those, and that's our retail stores.
Okay.
Then we have what I call we have a manufacturing plant, and we manufacture insulated blankets for Gulfstream, for the Learjets.
Okay.
And when the new planes come online, I know they have the 500 and the 600 coming online this next year. They will buy parts from us to put in those planes. And we have about 50 employees that work at G-Force, and that's the name of it, that put together those insulated blankets. And they'll do some other things. They do kitting, which we will do some work for Dixie Crystals, where they put salt and pepper shakers together, and most of our work is done by hand. We don't have a lot of machinery, but it's an actual manufacturing plant that we have, and it continues to get better and moving in that direction. The third thing we have is we have I'm going to call it a cleaning business.
Okay.
Just call it that. I know they've got another technical term for it, but we clean 1 million square feet of building a day.
Wow.
So we have contracts with Stewart, Fort Stewart, Hunter, Fletsy, which is down in Brunswick, which is the federal training center. Okay. And then we have the government buildings downtown here where the Army Corps of Engineers is, right? We have that building also. So we clean those buildings every day.
Wow.
And we've got a contract and that contract with the government, and 75% of those workers have some type of disability. So we have that business. And the other business we have is a staffing service.
Okay.
So, and what's beautiful about that, our mission is to help people with disabilities overcome those disabilities and find a job, basically, or to put people to work. We have a staffing company, and that staffing company takes individuals, gets them into a job. And all of them, most of all of them are entry-level jobs. And we're trying to reach out to the community and find those individuals that either A, haven't been in the workforce in a while, or B, have been a stay-at-home mom that's now getting into the workforce. We try to reach out to them, help them, train them, give them an opportunity to get ready to go to work. Then we give them a job. I say when our staffing agency, we either give them a job within Goodwill, because we have 850 jobs that we're trying to employ every day. All right. Or we help find jobs for them in other businesses. And so that is, and we do that as a staffing agency. And then our mission, again, is to put these people to work. And so we have Job Connect centers, one of them at Sally Mood, one in Brunswick, one in Statesboro, and one in Waycross. And those centers are free to the public. Anybody can come in and use them. You come in and you want to learn how to write a resume, we'll help you do that. You want to learn how to do interview skills, we'll do that. We'll even help you with Dress to Success. If you have an important interview, and we're going to help you do that. So you can go in and get a chance to, get a job and better your family and better yourself. So those are those four social enterprises make up 98% of what Goodwill's funding is. The other 2% is United Way and some other stuff that I may do in fundraising. So, and those businesses themselves put in about $1 million a year back into our mission. And so that's why I come back to say we are a self-funded 501c3 nonprofit organization. So, but those are the four different entities we have.
That is brilliant.
It is. I wish I would have said I could have come up with it, but I didn't. But I'll tell you real quick, and I'll tell you the quick story behind that, because you asked about Goodwill in general. Goodwill was formed in 1902, and basically the story goes, and I tell the story all the time, different organizations, is a gentleman named Edgar Helms, Dr. Edgar Helms, and he's passed, but he was a young Methodist minister, and he was sent after he finished the seminary, sent to Massachusetts, or to I guess Boston, Massachusetts, and there was a church, Methodist church there, and there was already a preacher. They had a pastor there, and the pastor said, "Look, we really only need one pastor." And you could probably imagine he didn't really want to have an extra one running around. So he said, "Why don't you go over to the poor side of Boston? And there's a lot of people over there. Why don't you go do a ministry over there? I don't know what you're going to do, but go do something." Okay. So Dr. Helms ended up going over there, and he was fascinated because what he found was there was a lot of individuals, because right around the turn of the century, that's the Industrial Revolution. So you had all these factories, and people get injured in a factory. There was no workman's comp. There was no disability. You were injured. You lost your job, and somebody else came in. Well, he found all these individuals over there that were struggling to make a living, that were handicapped or had other different issues. What they were doing is they were going and finding people's things they were throwing away. Whether it was a broken clock, whether it was, I don't know, you name it, clothes, they would take them back and they would fix them, and then they'd resell them. And so thus was formed Goodwill. What he did, he got all those individuals together, found a storefront, and basically got individuals from the church to donate their stuff that they weren't using anymore, and started the Goodwill concept. And that was in 1902, and then in 1965, Mr. Bartlett here locally formed our Goodwill in 1965.
Okay.
And with the same kind of model, which is mainly just stores, and then they've grown from there to these other social enterprises.
Yeah.
So that's how Goodwill was formed, and that's how it was started over 100 years ago.
That's pretty amazing.
It really was. I mean, that dude was brilliant.
Yeah.
That guy was brilliant in a way. And then to turn around and say, okay, we're going to help individuals that have disabilities to overcome those disabilities to work. What a brilliant, it was a brilliant plan.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and that's the essence of entrepreneurship, like seeing a problem, seeing a need, and like taking action to solve it.
Absolutely.
Like he could have saw it, but if he never bought that storefront.
That's correct. And then to take it and then to get the model of it, like you said, a business model of it, and then to go sell it to other parts of the country, that was brilliant on his part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is. I'm glad why you put entrepreneurship, because that's really, Goodwill is a big proponent of business, big proponent of small business, because we know that that's basically what Goodwill is.
Yeah.
It's a business with a purpose, a business with a mission, to give back to the community.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. Okay, so how long have you been with Goodwill?
I've been with Goodwill a little over a year.
Okay. So how do you like it so far?
I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to work with individuals that have and they're dedicated to what they do. They have a mission of what they want to do, and that is to make an impact here in Savannah. Well, not just, I shouldn't say Savannah, but in the coastal Empire area. And the people are dedicated, especially the individuals that I've met in the Job Connect centers that are working with people that walk off the street every day. Because the majority of the people that come into our centers are those that need help. They're the ones that have either have had jobs and can't find job now. And I'll tell you the other thing that I'm really proud of is we have, and this is all funded under mission, we have transformation coaches. And these individuals are, if you have an employee that's even in our job or one of our Goodwill jobs or in a job somewhere else that we've been working with, they don't like their job, they can go to the transformational coach, tell them that, talk to them, and they'll find a way to shift into another job. So they won't just have to quit.
Right.
Because that's another problem. We have so many individuals that have to overcome the barrier of child care, transportation. They have problems getting back and forth to work.
Right.
All these different things that are a barrier for them to keep a job. And so we try to overcome all those barriers best we can to keep them employed and keep them so they have an opportunity again to have a wonderful life and support their family.
Yeah, yeah. I can tell you enjoy it. I can feel your energy right now. You're all over the place. Like you love it.
I do. It's been great to see the change that they have made in people's lives.
Yeah.
And that's when I work with the Boy Scouts. The same thing is, I'm one of those that have really enjoyed being in the nonprofit world because you're working for a mission and not necessarily. And we all want to make money. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those. But to be able to take care of my family and then turn right around and get up every day, and know you're making a difference in somebody's lives. It's awesome. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I feel like more people need to keep that in mind. You know what I
They
mean?
do. I agree with you. I agree 100%. I mean, because a job, everybody can have a job. You got a job, I got a job, but to enjoy it and to get up every day and enjoy going to work and doing it. And there's a lot of people that don't have that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I've done close to 30 interviews now, and not many people are giving back like they say they do. You know what I mean?
When it's hard to do something.
It is hard to do.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an opportunity because what I'm doing, I can see the end product. I may not be the one in the Job Connect Center every day helping that individual but I walk in and see them doing it and knowing that what I'm doing over here, raising funds or doing different activities, is giving them an opportunity to have a meaningful life. Can't get any better than that. We also have a youth program that we've started working with the judicial system here. We've got about 15 kids that have been, I don't want to say kicked out of school, but have been having some discipline problems, and they've been basically told to go home and work on a computer and try to get your GED. Well, we're working with the court system to take those individuals and give them a structure again, help them work in a classroom setting to get that work done, as well as teach them soft skills, how to get along with people, as you well know is becoming a lost art, as well as some other life skills, those type of things, to hopefully keep them back on a narrow, a straighter path, because that once they get out of school and they got all that free time in their hand, most of them are not going to do anything good. And we're trying to help solve that problem, because I know that is a problem here in Savannah, and it's with our youth, and the fact that, and a lot of it comes down to, they're lost.
Yeah,
they're going to join something, And a lot of times it's a gang or something.
It's not the right thing.
It's not the right thing. And we need to try everything in our power to help them. Kicking and screaming if we have to, to pull them along, to get a job, to go, and a lot of we believe the job is a key to it. Once you find a place to belong, and if hopefully it's something you'll enjoy doing. If not, you move up and on. That'll help them make those life choices.
A lot of kids, as soon as they lose sports or Boy Scouts even, or something after school
or
like
school,
that. As soon as they get kicked out, it's whatever.
Well, they're going to go and they're going to go do gonna do crime, or they're going to get around with, like I said, a gang or a group of guys, and they're going to do nothing that's going to be any good.
Right.
You and I know that, and that's one of the reasons. That's one of the, especially in the last couple months with different things that have happened locally with shootings and with teenagers, and it's kind of scary. And they're reaching out for them. We got to be able to find a way to get to them.
Right. I agree wholeheartily. So this has been a good conversation.
Yes, I've enjoyed it.
Time has flown by. It's been 25 minutes already.
Well, that's good, and I haven't bored you yet, so we'll work on that.
All right. So you have kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 4 sons.
Okay.
I've got a 29, 28, 23, and 15.
Okay.
So I'm almost got them out of the house. If I could get the 15-year out now, I'd be happy. But no, I've got one that's out of college and one that's married with 2 granddaughters, which I love the granddaughters.
Okay.
And then I've got a son that's in college now, and then I've got a sophomore.
Awesome.
That's at Richmond Hill High School.
Okay.
So yeah, my lovely wife has still put up with me for a long period of time. So I'm on one wife, which is a good thing.
That's rare too.
But she's been very blessed to be able to raise my wonderful. Well, I don't know if they're wonderful or not. I know children are wonderful. Depends on the day.
Yeah, depends on the day. Definitely.
So how many kids you got?
2.
You got 2.
2 kids, boy and a girl.
I knew you were going to say boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl, 5 and 1.
5 and 1. Wow.
Yeah.
I loved them at 5 and 1.
Yeah.
When they get to be teenagers, I don't love them anymore.
We'll see. I can't speak on it, but we'll see. I know how I was as a teenager.
Yeah, me too. I come from a family of 6. I have five boys and my sister, and my mother was a saint. So because there was a lot of testosterone in that family, and a lot of my dad had to do a lot of spankings. We can't say that nowadays, but in the old days, he had to try to keep us in line. So and it worked in most cases.
It still worked.
It still works. Don't say that out loud now.
My brand is honest and authenticity, so it
okay.
works. I've done it like once, and I didn't like it.
I've done it more than once, but I haven't done it recently. So I guess that's good as I'm getting older and getting softer, as my kids would say.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty cool. Okay, so you're younger than you look.
Yeah,
you look younger than you are.
Thank you very much.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That.
Yeah.
You got a brownie point today. Yeah, I'm sitting in that mid-50 range, so
okay.
I kind of like being younger looking for a while.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anything else you want to say about Goodwill?
No, I just
before we go to a break?
I guess basically all I want to say is that Goodwill is loves to be a part of this community. And it has an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. And I just want people to know out there that Goodwill has got a mission arm, and its mission is to help other people overcome their barriers, and that they'll be able to have a wonderful life and being employed and have a great job. As you well know, like I said, I really believe it's important that we have something we love to do every day, because most of us are going to have to do that until we retire, or some of us may never retire.
Yeah.
But Goodwill's out there, and we have been blessed to have it a part of our community. And if there's anything out there that we can do, people need, just give us a call. We'll be more than glad to step in there and help out.
Awesome.
Best we can.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back with the lightning round.
Can't wait.
All right. So
thank you.
Thank you guys out there for listening. Hang around. We'll be right back in just a second. All right, Savannah, welcome back to the Savannah Business Showcase. Thank you for sticking around. I'm here once again with Tom Cardiff, the VP of Fund Development at Goodwill of Southeast Georgia, and we're going to put him through the lightning round. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. What did you want to be as a kid, and how's that relate to your current business?
As a kid, I wanted to be a teacher and be a football coach, basketball coach. So it didn't really relate to anything that I did in Boy Scouts or Goodwill, but I did do many, many years of coaching football as a volunteer and basketball. So I guess ultimately I didn't have to do it as a career. I did it as a side note.
Gotcha. How have you approached failure in life?
Wow. Done a lot of that. And I guess I've just had to learn from my mistakes. I've been very blessed to have a mother that taught me basically, own up to what you did wrong and move on. And that's been a great example out of me, because as I say, when you make these mistakes, you can't lie about them. You can't pawn them off on anybody else. Take the as I tell my kids, you take the punishment or you take the consequence that goes around with your mistake.
Yep.
And so I've tried to live by that.
Who influenced you early in life, and who's your mentor now?
Probably the person that influenced me the most in my life would be my mother, who was there for me every single day of my life. I'd come in and talk to her when I'd get the crap beat out of me at school or whatever else would happen. And she was always there. And I guess the rest of my life would probably be my father, who has been another person who's been a great example of my life, always been honest, even though he's a little nut job at times, but he has been, you very seldom find that person that wants to do everything right. Make mistakes, but he wants to do it right and do it and always been honest with everybody. And I admire him for that.
Advice for new entrepreneurs.
Wow. I would say that if you've got an idea and you know the idea works, do your research on it. Make sure it's something that is needed, because a lot of times out there, myself, there have been a couple things I've tried that I had a great passion for. There's already 50 people out there doing it.
Yeah. What'd you try?
Actually, I was a food vendor for a while.
Okay.
And traveled around and did different fairs.
Yeah.
And I came up with the barbecue hot dog. So I had a hot dog, put barbecue on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. I loved it. It was one of the best meals I ever had.
Yeah.
Didn't sell a lot of it for some reason. I don't know why. I guess because they could have got a barbecue sandwich or a hot dog. They didn't want them together.
Yeah.
So we went around and did that as fairs for a long time. And one other thing that we did was kind of cool. We did, remember the NBA 3-point shootout?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We took that on the road to state fairs, did it for 2.5 years, made some good money on it, but it was very, very physically demanding because you had to rebound all the balls.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
but it was
that's why you stayed in shape.
I lost 20 pounds in 1 week one time doing it.
Oh my
Literally
God.
did. It was a great. I don't advise you doing that.
Yeah.
The doctor would not approve it. But those little things were kind of fun, and but then realized that you just couldn't maintain it.
Yeah.
But it was a fun try. How about that?
Yeah.
So I would say, just make sure you do your research, do your homework, make sure that if something you're passionate, make sure it is something you're passionate about. And then if you get out there and you fail, give it 100%. And if you fail, then go do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah. As far as the hot dogs, there's a guy, he does do barbecue dogs.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Dang it.
I just interviewed him. He sets up weekend nights across with the Tree House in City Market.
Yeah.
He's like cat a corner from that.
He has a hot dog with a barbecue on it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have stayed with it.
I just interviewed him. He's a great guy.
Well, I'm gonna have to go track him down. And tell me. I'll see if he got a patent on it.
There you go. Okay. Tell me a story about a failure.
Well, I guess one of the failures I would have had would have been, and it came a little later, but I also was involved with a miniature golf go-kart fun park.
Okay.
And I helped from the beginning with all the preliminary. I didn't have all the funds. I had some funds in as an owner, but we had a big owner that gave us most of the money. But we opened it, we ran it for 5 or 6 years, and to be honest with you, I ended up getting out of it. And right as I got out, ended up going under. And it was about $1 million, a little over $1 million venture. And I think we made a lot of mistakes on it. We spent too much money getting into it.
Yeah.
We should have done a lot less, and we didn't. And if I did it again, I'd have done a lot better. And the fact it could have made more money. But that was a big loss in the fact that there was a lot of money that went down the drain on a project that could have been really, really good. It was in a great market in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
And there was no other one there in the city. Huh. But the other problem was weather. You only had 6 months out of the year instead of 12.
Oh,
because
wow.
up there you've got snow. It's kind of hard to run a go-kart. The go-karts were the draw. You can't miniature golf in the snow and the rain. It's no fun. But you could do parties in the building, which we did have, and we had batting cages that were hard to run unless the weather was good.
Got you.
And so we kind of that's good. Okay. Somebody's trying to tell me something. But yeah, so that was ultimately a failure.
Okay. So what advice do you have for an entrepreneur that's about to go into a big project like that?
Well, I want to say this. Number one, homework, and then more homework, because we actually went out and started studying the different go-karts to buy. Then we started studying the right miniature golf course, then the batting cages and all these type of things. And what happened was, for us, going back to the research, we got caught up in the pretty thing. We got caught up in, gosh, this is a much prettier go-kart, even though the middle of the road one would have been a lot more economical and would last longer. We wanted this. And so you had all these different. So my suggestion, again, I go back to is go find another go-kart track.
Yeah.
Which we did, but we found the top model one, and we didn't need to do that. Go find another go-kart track. Go see what they're doing. Hopefully they'll talk to you a little bit, especially if you're not in their market. Find out, maintenance was a massive disaster. We had to hire a full-time maintenance person just to keep them on the road.
Oh, wow.
Didn't think we had to do that. We had to.
Yeah.
So it was those types, and then you go back to permitting and all the different things you get dinged on from the local. And it's not just us, but I mean, all businesses do. Didn't know about all those different things. And so as we were opening up, found out we had to have a permit before we could open on this particular in Kentucky. And then, like I said, go back to building your budget, knowing that you may only have 7 months out of the year, and you can't have a full-time manager. You have to have a part-time manager.
Yeah.
So I keep harping on the research, but also finding out how many people are in your demographic area. Can that business support? How many people do you have to support that business?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. And it's huge. And we thought we did the right thing. And I could go back and say, if we'd have done a little less on the money and maybe a few other things we'd have changed, it probably would have still be alive today. But you make some of those big mistakes, it's going to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happens. Yeah. But the cool thing is, I mean, you went out there, you did it.
And it was a great experience. Starting a business from the beginning and seeing it happen and open its doors and watching it. And like I said, it lasted for 7 or 8 years, and it should have been longer. But it is what it is. That, so
awesome. All right. So great advice. You said you came from a family of 6.
Yes.
How many sisters? How many brothers?
I have 4 brothers and then a sister. So there's 6 of us.
Gotcha.
And they're all. I'm the oldest. The rest of them are younger than I am. And like I said, my mother was a saint, putting up with all those youngins.
What's the one thing in your business now with Goodwill that drains you of energy, and what's the one thing that excites you?
The one thing that drains me, and it's probably just me personally, is I don't want to fail. So as I'm doing events for Goodwill, obviously I want them to be successful, because the bottom line, it goes back to helping people, to find work and to overcome barriers, those types of things. So that does, I'm stressed out all the way till an event happens. And then when you get an event over with, anytime you put an event on, there's a sense of relief, but then you're mad because you didn't do X, Y, and Z to make it better. So I guess that's what drains me. And almost everything I do, and I've got something ongoing with Goodwill almost every day, and it's at times frustrating.
Yeah.
Because that's me. It's not anything Goodwill's doing. It's just me in general. The thing probably said what I loved about it.
What excites you? What
excites me is probably, like, a good example would be, we're getting ready to do a golf tournament down in Brunswick. Okay. And we've never done one before, and we've got 15 teams, and the goal was to raise $6,700 to buy TWIC cards, which you may not know what a TWIC card is, but the port, we have a staffing service at the port. We have to have 120 people a day that work for Goodwill take cars off the ships in Brunswick, because that's where their port is. That's where their big auto port. Well, one of our barriers for our employees is a TWIC card. And a TWIC card is basically credentials for them to get on the port.
Gotcha.
Okay? Cost them $130. Now, most people, if they're starting a job and they're in financial distress, they don't have $130.
Right, yeah.
And they're not even guaranteed that they'll get the TWIC card once they pay the $130. All right? So one of our barriers is to help them get that TWIC card to get them to work. Well, the golf tournament, the goal is to raise $6,700. Well, it looks like our golf tournament's going to do that.
Awesome.
And that will start this TWIC card pool to help people get jobs at the port.
Amazing.
So
That's
that
great.
excites me because I can actually get a chance to put an event together, raise the money, and see the money go right where it's supposed to go. So that part's been really fun.
What's something that you consume religiously? It could be a blog, TV show, YouTube channel, podcast, a food.
Wow. Consumer potatoes. Okay, any kind of potato. Okay, because that's pretty much every day I eat. Avoid vegetables. That's way too healthy. Probably, I probably listen to probably too much talk radio.
Okay.
I'm in the car a lot, and if I'm not listening to old country music, which because then I'm getting old, I listen to talk radio, and I bounce it all over the place, just because I get tired of hearing music, and then I want to be caught up what's going on around me. And obviously, when you listen to talk radio, they all have an opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And varied opinions, and it is kind of fun to hear what they say and how they feel. But that's probably my two things.
Okay. What's something most people don't know about you?
They don't know about me. I'm an Eagle Scout. All my brothers are Eagle Scouts, and probably been in, like I said, not only did I work for the Boy Scouts for many, many years, I've been in scouting since I was 8 years old. Probably, is there anything else somebody doesn't know about me? Been married 33 years. That's, like I said, we talked about that earlier. That's kind of a rarity anymore.
Yeah.
And to the same woman that put up with me for 33 years. And I don't know, that's probably, everything else is probably out there they know about me. That's probably about it.
Okay. All right. Pretty much an open book. Gotcha.
I don't know if there's much else out there.
So I know the Girl Scouts were founded here in Savannah.
Yes.
Where were the Boy Scouts founded?
Boy Scouts were founded in 1910, and basically founded, I guess, somewhere right around the New York area. And then they are now located, I can't remember what year it was. They moved out to Irving, Texas, is where they are now. But it was 1910, the Boy Scouts were formed. And they said, so it's been over 100 years. Girl Scouts were here. But they were in New York for a little bit, and then ended up out, national headquarters out in Texas.
Gotcha. What's the last experience that made you a stronger person?
Probably leaving the Boy Scouts. I worked for the Boy Scouts for many, many years. Loved the Boy Scouts, still do. And when I left, it was hard to do. Very difficult to do, and helped me. And I guess what I've learned out of it is that basically life goes on.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where that chapter closed in my life, and another one opened. And I had to be open to change. As you get older, you don't like change.
Yeah.
At least I don't. You might. But I've never been a guy that loved change. I'm kind of a routine guy. I like going the same way to work, which I know is not a good thing. But to close that chapter in my life was very tough to do that, especially working for the Boy Scouts. And so, but it has made me be more open-minded, more, I guess, have a better perspective of life, because you get caught in the rut of doing something that you love. And I loved it every day, and you block everything else out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that's gone, and it almost felt like part of my life was gone.
Yeah.
And so that has been something that has affected me, and I think in a good way. I think it's helped me when I come into work to Goodwill to realize there is other organizations that do good things, not just the organization I was working in at the time.
Right.
So that's been a really good thing for me.
What do you miss most about being a kid?
Not having to worry about anything. It's funny, when you're a kid, you worry about everything. You worry about when you're going to turn 15, so if you can drive, or you worry about when you're going to get out of high school so you can go to college, or you name it. But I look back at it now, man, what a good life I had.
Yeah.
I get up in the morning, I had something to eat. I got to go to school. I got to play. I got to do things with my friends, and you're almost carefree. Now, you don't think you are at the time.
Right.
Because you got to stress about something. But I think I enjoyed not having to worry about, at this point, whether or not I have a job to take care of my family. Now, all the different things we have as an adult. And sometimes it's not fun.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I look back at it now, my gosh, could I go back? I try to tell my own sons, enjoy it now. They don't listen to me.
Yeah, they
and
don't
not
understand yet.
No,
Yeah.
They're stressed out about this, stressed out about that. And I'm like, you need to just kick back and smell the roses, as he used to say. Because, man, in about 4 or 5 years, it's gone.
Right.
So that's one thing I miss.
Right. And like you said, life goes on. Even if you're stressing about something now, life's going to go on no matter what
No matter
happens.
what you do, unless we die at that particular point. I mean, you're right. Life is going to happen whether we like it or not. Good point.
More simple ones now. What's your favorite book?
Wow. You got to read to have a book, right? If they have pictures in it, I read. I mean, I look at a lot of pictures, okay? My favorite book. Wow. I actually studied history in college, and I read a book about the Founding Fathers. I can't remember the author at this time, but it was George Washington and Ben Franklin, and those individuals, and that was fascinating to me.
Okay.
Because those individuals were God-centered. I mean, they were God-centered. Everything they did revolved around what they thought God wanted them to do, or they believed they should do. And I found that fascinating. I'm a believer. I'm Christian, and I believe in God, and I tend to see, obviously, us as a nation not going that direction anymore.
Right.
Right or wrong.
Unfortunately,
but to read the dedication and learn the dedication those individuals had, not only for the nation, but for other people around them, and their religious beliefs, was fascinating to me. And you hear about it all the time. And people talk about, you hear about George Washington, but then to read more and more, talk about chopping down the cherry tree and all those kind of different things that, quote, he did or didn't do. But he was a fabulous human being. And I think that's what I like most about when you read about individuals.
Yeah.
Whether it's about Martin Luther King or whether it's about, you pick an individual out there. They were wonderful human beings, not only what they stood for. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love those type of stories, and enjoy reading about that kind of stuff too.
Awesome. Okay. Got you. So here's a recommendation. I don't know if you listen to podcasts at all.
I don't.
Okay.
You're going to give me one, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to give you one. So it's a history podcast called Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
Dan Carlin?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Hardcore History, and it's an amazing podcast. If you love history, then you'll like the way he goes in depth. And he only puts one out every 2 or 3 months.
Really?
But he does it. It's like a 2 or 3 hour podcast. You can pause and play it and jump back in. But
I'll look that up.
Yeah,
I do. I enjoy that.
Especially if you're on the road all the time.
Dude, that's
you get
great
tired of country music and talk radio. It might be a second option.
I've already heard it a couple times. Yeah. Thank you. I will take that. I appreciate that.
Okay, so there's a concept called just a few more and we'll get out of here.
No problem.
There's a concept called the 80-20 principle.
Yes.
Pareto's principle. 20% of your actions equal 80% of your results. And Goodwill is the VP of fund development. What's the 20% of the actions you take to get you 80% of the results?
Good question. And for me, it would be, I have to develop friends of Goodwill, if you want to put it that way. Those people out there that believe in what Goodwill is doing. And most people out there give to Goodwill now anyway. They donate their stuff all the time. Okay. And it's kind of been a culture over the years. But for me, to get results I need to do to get Goodwill, its mission, wherever it needs to go, I have to develop people. I have to be able to find people that believe in what Goodwill does, have them help me, not only with their monetary resources, but also their goods, as well as their connections in the community to get the word out to other people. And so I've got to focus in on those 20% of the people in Savannah here that are willing to help me do that. And so, and it's like anything, the 80-20 principle works. And it's just whether or not, like in scouting, you've got 20% of the troops that have majority of the membership in them, and they're the ones that you're going to see around everywhere you go. Yeah. And that's the same thing that falls for me in Goodwill. And the sad part about, or the hard part for me, I guess, is that because Goodwill has not done any fundraising in the past, or even friend raising, whatever you want to call it, we're starting from scratch. Most people out there probably believe Goodwill does good things, but they've never been asked to participate in anything that would help make Goodwill better. And so that's probably what I have to really focus on in the next year or so that I'm with Goodwill.
Gotcha. Yeah, so a side question, like how are you planning to do that? Because are you just going to go broadcast business cards everywhere? Like, what do you think?
Good question. So when I went back to the fundraising thing last year in 2017, or I guess I'm in 2017 right now, it's not over yet. So in 2017, we kind of did a 3-prong approach. We did a May event where we had 190 people come, and we celebrated some awards, local business awards, as well as some individuals within Goodwill that had done good things. And we raised a little money that way. That wasn't even money we raised. Basically, we raised 190 people that got to see what Goodwill was doing. And so now we're going to work with those individuals, hopefully, to help us do other things in the future. We also had a Halloween event that ended up getting canceled at the last minute. But that was the other prong of what we were doing at the time, that to raise awareness to a different group of individuals.
Gotcha.
And we still got some good out of it because we got a lot of PR and people got to hear Goodwill. And then we're doing the same thing down in Brunswick because I'm going to have probably about 100 golfers down there that I'm going to have an opportunity to at least have them hear the word Goodwill and be able to go back to them. So we're going to do some events like that, as well as I'm going to start working on some other things, some email campaigns. And we also do one thing that we do right now that I'm going to get you to come to, is we do I call it a BLT. Okay, it's breakfast, learn, and tour. Or lunch, learn, and tour, whichever it is. We invite community individuals to come down to Goodwill for 1 hour. And we don't ask them to do anything. We feed them breakfast or lunch. We tell them about what Goodwill's doing. And then we give them a tour of our Sally Mood location, which has, you get to see the little bit of a store, what a store does. Nothing spectacular, but they get to see how Goodwill runs,
right?
And why it runs and why we do it. And so we do one of those every month, and we have about 10 to 15 people participate, and they're also individuals that we're hopefully be able to reach out down the road that'll continue to spread the word that what Goodwill's doing in the community. So we're trying to do a lot of those types of things, as well as like you and I met. I'll try to get out and go to networking events, anything I can get to, pass a card out and say, look, just keep us in mind. Know that when next time you got a load of stuff in your house, you're going to drop it off at Goodwill for us. We appreciate you doing that. Or you may run across a business that, you know what, hey, I need to get rid of all this furniture. Nobody wants to buy it. Well, why don't you just donate it to Goodwill so they can use it for their mission? It's those types of things that's going to help us get back to our mission.
True.
And help us be more engaged in the community. And we want to give back.
Mm-hmm.
I went down to Brunswick this past Saturday and sat in a health fair and passed out balloons and gave out snacks to little kids in the area down in Brunswick, just to let them know that we're there.
Yeah.
And didn't want anything out of them, but hopefully let them know that, hey, we've got services you can use if you'd like to come. So we're trying to do that also.
Awesome. Great answer. I like that. Two more.
Okay.
If you had a superpower or ability, what would you choose and why?
My superpower ability, I think, and why, probably would be to be able to have discernment, to be able to know what people need.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one thing I've enjoyed in my life is I enjoy being to be able to help others. I've always enjoyed that, whether it's with a nonprofit organization or my own family. But you don't always know what they need.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be awesome, and not in a selfish way, it'd be awesome to know that my son is hurting because of this, and he's never going to tell me, but to be able to step in and do something about it before he took a turn or somebody took a turn that's going to make a decision in their life that'll hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that would be something I would love to have. But unless there's people out there that do that well, that can look at somebody and know that the person's hurting and be able to say the right thing. I haven't been able to say the right thing yet, but I'd like to be able to.
Yeah.
And that would be something that I wish I could do.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to say the right thing. Sometimes you just have to listen.
I agree. And the other part, and over the years, somebody that likes to talk like I do, that is something I've tried to do, is and you're absolutely right, because it's hard. You want to jump in as soon as they're saying it and try to fix it. I'm a fixer, so I do want to fix things. But to shut your mouth and actually let somebody just talk and listen to them and not judge them, it's hard to do, though.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a parent and it's your son or somebody's close to you and they're telling you something is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
You're right there, buddy. I'm judging them and I'm mad and I'm frustrated.
Right.
Hard to shut up and not do that.
Very
hard.
Difficult. You're right. You're right. But sometimes that's the only way to help.
It is.
And they'll come back to you a day later and be like, thank you so much for just listening.
Yeah. And you got to be able to do it, and it's tough.
It is. It is.
It is tough.
Okay, so last one, advice for entrepreneurial kids.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I've got two sons right now. My oldest son, who graduated college, is in Atlanta working on his business is basically he's a salesman, but he'll go to architects and try to sell. All of them need 3D renderings because they're going to either work on a project or try to sell somebody to build a project. Okay. Well, a lot of the architectural firms don't have that capability in their office, so my son goes to them and sells them that he can get it done for him. Okay. So what he does is he's the salesman because he doesn't do any of the CAD work because he can't.
Gotcha.
But he's got a person in a third world country that does it for him. Okay. So he can pay this guy a fair wage, I guess, in Brazil, I don't know what it is, and charge money here, and then he's the middleman and gets paid in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's been doing that and making a living doing that, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then he's doing some other things on the side. And then my other son, and I'm giving you this, and I'll give only advice I'll be able to give you is that you just got to be passionate about it. Other son went to Carnegie Mellon, which is I didn't know what it was, but it's a really nice school up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, great school.
And he's going to be in debt the rest of his life for it, but that's how you got to go. But he wanted to go there because of the connection that school would give him.
Yeah.
So I say that to come back to, and it did it. So his job, he wanted to start a company. Well, he ran into an alumni of Carnegie Mellon after he went through his master's program. And long story short, the guy owns a trucking company,
Mm-hmm.
a big trucking company, and said, look, why don't you come on board, and I want you to do some research on this product that I've got, and if you think it can be a business, basically I'll give it to you, and you can give me some percentage of the business if it happens. Well, so he's got a software, he's developed software that all these truckers and even the like the CVS have all these different trucks, that kind of stuff. They have all these regulations they got to have with government safety regulations. He's developed a software that'll take all that stuff and keep it on one system. Okay, and he's selling it.
Yeah.
And so he's got, like, CVS is already on board and some other big companies.
Wow.
And so he had to develop he had to go out and get $1 million worth of funding, which is what he did.
Uh-huh.
And he got his funding, he started his business, and obviously he's not rich yet, but not successful yet, but it's on the verge of doing what it's supposed to do. So that was but you talk about all the work you had to do. I mean, he had to go through, again, raising the money was a pain in the backside.
I bet it was. Yeah, I know it was.
Well, yeah, it was no fun at all. And to constantly have to be going to different shows and talking to people, as well as now he's got to turn right around and hire people to develop the software, because he had the software, but it wasn't as in depth as they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
So he has formed that company and is in Pittsburgh doing it. And again, my advice would be, he was passionate. I mean, that is what he wanted to do. And he is working 24 hours a day basically to get it done. And if you're not willing to do that, don't be an entrepreneur. Don't go into business, because you have to give your, for me, I go to work at Goodwill, and yes, we are a business, social enterprise.
Yeah.
My part of it is I'm going to get paid in 2 weeks, hopefully, unless I get fired. But when you're in charge of your own business and you've got people working on you and things don't go well, you still got to pay them.
That's true.
And you better be passionate in what you're doing to make sure you can turn that corner and make sure that those things are done. That's my advice would be, again, you better make sure that's something you want to do. And it's something, and there's not a doubt in your mind. And then you got to be not only dedicated to do it, but you got to go do it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the hard part.
I mean, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody come up with an idea and get a business card and go out there and start working on something. But if you're not doing it every waking minute, you're not going to be successful, because somebody else out there's already got the idea, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like my hot dog with barbecue on it. Can't believe I started that and somebody took it already. Very frustrating. I'm already sad today because you told me that.
I'm sorry, but it's good. You go get one.
If I find out he's got a multi-million-dollar business, I'm going to be very upset.
I doubt it's multi-million-dollar, but it's a good hot dog.
No, good. Well, glad to hear that.
Okay, so great. Yeah, great interview. Thanks, Tom.
Well, you're welcome
for coming on the show.
Appreciate you letting me come down here.
How can people find you?
Well, they can find me, obviously, my email is tcardiff@goodwillsega.org. I've also got a phone number, which I'll give to you, is 912-257-5129. And you can always look up Goodwill Goodwill Southeast Georgia, and that'll pop up our website. And I'd encourage you to do that. And I also encourage you, if you get an opportunity to, not only come into a Goodwill store, please do it, but continue to donate. We really appreciate what everybody does out there, dropping your stuff off the back door. It makes a difference. All the stuff you donate to us, once we sell it, goes right back in to our mission, which is put people to work, and because jobs change lives.
Awesome. I have a large pile of stuff at home. It's just waiting to go to Goodwill.
Well, that's what I want to hear. I'll be looking for you to drop it off.
Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. Once again, Tom Cardiff. You can go to goodwillsega.org, right?
.org, yes.
.org. Sega stands for Southeast Georgia.
There you go.
Thank you guys for listening. Go out there, have a great week. Go out there, do something impactful. We don't have much time left on this earth, so go out there and take action and do something that you're passionate about, that you love. And I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank
Bye.
you.